about 10 minutes after 1 on May 16th. First is public comments. Do we have any public commenters? We do. Thank you. Mr. Minor.
Good afternoon, council. I just wanted to come up here real quick and speak about SB 1145 Proposition 2. I believe I saw it on your workshop agenda, so I just wanted to give you my input on it since I've been working on it for a little bit already. The Commissioners Court voted down to adopt SB 1142 a couple of weeks ago. But I don't think that that's going to be the end of the story. There were a lot of questions that the commissioners had. I thought they were answered satisfactory, but I guess it was not. In Bell County, working with the Texas Workforce Commission, SB 1145 allows a city or county to adopt a either minimum 50% tax exemption up to 100% tax exemption. So there's some options there for y'all. Working with all the local operators in and around the county, obviously they're going to ask for and request the 100% tax exemption. I would recommend and advocate for 100% tax exemption for those operators. What that is going to do is from the operators that came and spoke to us, it'll at least allow them to keep them from raising tuitions and fees, allow them to pay their employees a little bit more. They're not going to get rich off of it. But to me, this is a workforce development issue. One of the things that I did is I reached out to all the EDCs in the county, Killeen, Temple, Belton. They all sounded like they would support it, but they needed to talk to their boards before they could officially come out and support this. Part of the requirements is you have to be in the Rising Star program, the Texas Workforce Commission Rising Star program. 20% of their enrollees have to be subsidized. So there's some issues with having to qualify that. Who's going to qualify that? The appraisal district, the workforce commission. So there's a lot of things, since this is new, that we're going to have to figure out. They're willing to figure it out. For me, while it was such an issue to get it on the commissioner's court, is the fact that, they certify the appraisal rolls in the end of July. And the chief appraiser for Bell County said that they would need to have some type of notice by June to start working on that and getting that applied to this year. So that's why I was in a rush not in a rush, but there was some necessity to hurry up and make a decision on this. I hope that y'all lead in the county and vote and approve this. The county decided not to lead on it, so hopefully the city of Killeen or the city of Temple will do that. I do know Killeen is going to be workshopping this in the next couple of weeks. So I see this long term, it will get approved. It's a good thing for our county. It's a good thing for the cities. It's a good thing for parents. So I just give it strong consideration, and I would more than willing to be a resource to all of y'all. I do know that there's operators that could not be here right now, but I'm sure that they would be at any decision point whenever it comes up on city council agenda. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just, when we contacted the appraisal district, I can't think of the title, assistant chief appraiser, she noted to us today, this was one of the few most exemptions do have a late filing exception, but this one does not. So it wouldn't have been able to be effective for 2024.
I specifically asked Billy White if we could apply it, and he said yes. And he said the latest that for them to apply it would be June. They would have to start the process in June for people to sign up.
And just what they told me today, Tammy Hubman
Mhm.
is the one that I consulted with.
Okay.
She said it would have had to been adopted by April 30th of 2024 in order to be effective for the next tax year. Because you had to file your exemption request by that date, and most of them do allow most exemptions do allow late filing
Mhm.
exceptions. But she said this exemption specifically did not. So it's just.
We'll, we'll figure that out. Yeah.
Just
And
got
council,
different opinions.
yeah, any questions about, Senate Bill 1145 is, allowing, daycares to have a tax exemption for the, obviously we would vote on whether or not to allow exemption for the city, portion of the ad valorem tax. And you can do 50%, anything between 50 and 100%. So, and Miss Hawkins is going to do give us a little rundown of that. Oh, we're going to workshop it today. So,
Y'all have taken the whole presentation.
I know, God.
save
He
you.
said everything I was gonna say, just about.
Oh, that's what that is, in case you didn't know. Okay, all right, so, thank you, Mr. Meyer. Next is the, item one is to discuss the mayor's meeting and regular meeting agenda items for tonight, council or staff, anything?
Mayor, I know that there's been, some interest in item number 8 on the regular agenda. And so we can pull that presentation up if you want to go through it, here in workshop, or if you all just want to wait for the regular meeting. Be happy to do either way.
Either way, it's fine with me, you don't need to see it twice, so what do y'all want to do? Want to wait or do it now? Use your ears. Or do we
Well,
want-
I think you would need to do it
Public-
downstairs if you,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry,
so
I'm
I
sorry.
just didn't know if you wanted any preview of it. Here in
Got it.
kind of a more casual workshop environment.
Brian said you could come up if you need him.
I would defer to Susan.
No, no, I'm
Okay.
fine.
We'll do it at council.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Very good. All right. We are rescheduling item 2. So item 3 is to receive a presentation regarding Prop 2, property tax exemption. Ms. Hawkins.
All right, well, thank you. So as much of what Mr. Minor said in November, the voters approved Proposition 2, and it does allow cities and counties the opportunity to exempt childcare providers from a minimum of 50% up to 100% of the appraised value of any facility that's used to run a childcare business. As he said, there are 2 requirements. The first one being if the facility, the childcare provider must participate in the Texas Rising Star Program through the Texas Workforce Commission, and they also have to maintain 20% enrollment of children that receive subsidies through Texas Workforce Commission. So what does that look like for childcare providers here in Temple? There is the Texas Rising Star Program has a website where you can go in and search for providers that are Texas Rising Star certified. There are 9 childcare facilities in Temple currently. 3 of those are church affiliated, so they're not subject to property tax. One is a Temple ISD affiliated facility, and so also not subject to property tax. So there are 5 that are potentially eligible for the exemption. Again, contingent upon that meeting that 20% enrollment requirement.
So did you know how long the Texas Rising Star program has been?
I know, I didn't look at that.
I know it's been at least 8 years because it was around before I was in daycare. Okay. So it's not new. Brand new. Okay, thank you.
So, council,
Is that Rising Star program administered through Workforce? Okay, so they are, that is their daycare money that they talk about providing, being able to provide childcare.
well,
That's their
so,
budgeted out.
so the Texas Rising Star Program is really how they get their hands in, making sure that we have quality daycare, because it's that certification program where there are training requirements for like daycares to provide to their staff, just making sure that they're, sort of top-notch daycare facilities are part of that program. They get certified. And I think there's 3 levels, there's 4 levels of the program, 3 levels of certification. So there's the entry level, and then there's the 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star programs. Or 4-star, 2, 3, and 4-star facilities. To get that
Can I
certification.
ask one more question?
Sure.
do you, and I don't know, if you know this or not, so does it have to be a facility or can someone who does home care?
In-home
also?
can do as well, yeah, and
Okay.
one of the providers, that I found is an in-home daycare.
Okay, I think.
So it can be a facility in a home.
Licensed homes.
Right.
Registered childcare homes are not eligible, but licensed homes, which are, go through a little bit higher process, are eligible. But they are only eligible for the portion of the appraised value that is attributable to their daycare facility. So like, for example, if they had a den or, a certain room within their house, that percentage of the home could be exempted under this program, but not the other portions of the home that they
Like
use
a
for
home
living. And then they also have to choose, they either can get exemption under this program or they can get a homestead exemption, but not both. They have to choose one or the other. So while they're eligible, there may be some considerations that make it not feasible, or that may not be the best financial choice for them. It may be the homestead exemption, which of course limits the appraisal amount to no more than 10% each year and provide some on the top exemptions as well. So depending on how large of their facility was attributable to daycare would probably depend on which program was better for you. Okay, thank you.
So, your council really has two options. You can elect not to adopt an exemption, or you can elect to adopt an exemption, and then you have to decide what percentage you want that exemption to be at. Again, it must be a minimum of 15% of the appraised value. I'll kind of restate, I think, what I understood Tracy was saying about the information she received from the taxing district this morning. The way I understood that to be is that you could elect to pass an exemption for 2024. However, none of the providers that are potentially eligible could apply for it because that application would have to have been filed by the 30th of April. Is that correct, Tracy? Is that reading it correctly? So even if you did approve it, no one would be able to take advantage of that for the 2024 tax year. It just.
And like what I understood too was that most exemptions have an exception where you have through July 1 to make the application. But this one specifically did not have that exception.
The other thing that I will also mention that was part of the communication Tracy received today is that the appraisal district did say that because of the two eligibility requirements, which would be a little difficult potentially to monitor and certify and that kind of thing, there had to be some sort of process to put that into place, is that it potentially is something that might be a little difficult to administer.
It would be the city's responsibility to administer, correct?
Appraisal
Or
district.
okay. So the city doesn't have anything to do with that?
You consider the resolution as a resolution to pass it or not, to approve it or not, and then that's sent to the appraisal district and they administer like they do all the other exemptions.
Individual, applications or as a total?
Individual, just like you were like you applied for a homestead or any type of other exemption.
They're doing all the work.
Is it appropriate, or can we ask Mr. Minor a question at this point, since we have a presentation or not?
I don't think there's a problem asking. Sure, yes.
Okay, Mr. Minor,
Yes, ma'am.
can you give us some idea of what the commissioner saw as a reason not to pass this at this point, or?
Well, I think the main thing that they wanted is to see how much support. We still didn't know exactly how many, the financial impact it would have on the county. We just estimated based off of, I believe the Workforce Commission said there are 144 that would qualify in the Rising Star program. And the ones that we did have an estimate for, those are just individual facilities. This does apply to leasees, and we didn't have a number for those people, those operators that applied in that. So they wanted a little bit more financial impact, but we estimated around 300,000
To the county.
to the county, and our tax rate is a little bit different than y'all's.
Childcare is an enormous need.
It is.
Yes,
Okay.
very
thank you.
And, yeah,
Thank you very much.
Mayor, there is an operator here. I know she missed the public comments, so I don't know if she would be able to, 3 minutes.
No, public comments are closed. Go ahead.
So, like I said, council really has two options. And so really from my point, I just want to give you all the information. And so, it's for council, to discuss and make a decision on. That's really all I have. And I'm happy to go backwards, answer any questions you may have if, like I said, if I can.
Is that it?
Yes.
All right, council, any questions for Ms. Hawkins? All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, to move on, to receive a presentation regarding the second quarter financials from Ms. Bernard.
There we go. Perfect.
Gotta like
Sorry.
show first.
Here we go.
It's always a guessing game. If that.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I am pleased to present the second quarter financial statements for the city of Temple for the period ending March 31st. At this point of the year, we're 50% complete in our fiscal year. General fund revenues as a percent of budget are at 57.45% with 68.2 million. Water sewer fund revenues are at 25.4 million at 45.49%. But again, we have the higher consumption months in the last 6 months versus the first 6 months. Hotel motel fund is at 50.49% of budget, and the drainage fund is at 50.24%. Just looking again at our general fund revenues, based on the amended budget, the composition of those revenues. Sales taxes now makes up a little over 33% of our revenues. Ad valorem taxes about 20.49. And solid waste services 16.1%. Our total budgeted revenues are 118.8 million. Looking at some of our revenue highlights in this presentation, or at this point, it's not as much of a highlight as it's been in the past. Our sales tax at 7 months into the year, we are at 93.13% of where we think we should be at this point, based on our budget. As you look, the gold line is cities statewide. The growth from this year over last year, is a little less than 2%. Coppers Cove, Belton, and Georgetown are both slightly below 3%. And Temple, Waco, and Harker Heights actually have a decrease, and Temple's at 0.15% decrease compared to where the 7 months of last year at this same point.
Is that because Mike's been out of town?
I think so. So you're gonna be here the next 6 months? We need you.
And you have to eat out every day and shop. Go buy Laurel presents.
Revenue highlights again with that ad valorem tax. Our collections year to date are in line with what they've been in the past. Actually slightly higher than 2 years at this time. Expenditures, general fund are at 48.25%. Water sewer fund at 48.94%. Hotel motel fund a little over, or 53.5%, and drainage fund at 38.56%. And the hotel motel, the reason it is greater than 50% has to do with some recent capital expenditure or land purchase.
Wait, land purchased by whom?
The hotel motel fund for future
Oh,
development.
I got it. Yes, yes.
And this one, the general fund forecast. I wanna like go slow on these numbers. But I just wanted to show you, we're projecting that as of now, that revenues will not be at greater than 100%. They're gonna be at 98.26%. A little less than 2 million, or a little over a $2 million negative variance. We're forecasting that expenditures will be less than budget at 95.1%, or at positive variance of 6.2 million. And if you add those together, it will be a excess positive variance of 4.1 million. But wanted to note that the budget, the amended budget today, as of March 31st, had a expenditures appropriated more than the revenues by 14.5 million. But that is because at the end of the year, or beginning of the year, we rolled in encumbrances of over 8 million in 2024. And then, of course, we used 4 million of fund balance that we built up to in the FY 2024 budget. So we were we appropriated a negative, the 14.5, but we're actually in the excess or deficiency of 10.3 million that gives us the positive variance of 4.1. That makes sense?
That revenue compared to budget, is that all sales tax?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
This chart, normally sales tax was on that side.
Right.
Golf used to be over here. Now it's on the other side. But the majority of it right now is sales tax. We're forecasting.
Forecasting deficiency.
Yes, and then I wanted to show you, solid waste is positive interest income, franchise fee, golf course, even recreation's over here now. License and permits, and then on the right there's been some adjustments to our property tax roll. Part of that reason is fines and fees. The police department, your traffic patrol is still not in full force.
Right.
And then the other revenues make up just a lot of miscellaneous items. And I wanted to show you sales tax. The blue bars is our budget, and the line is our actual. And for 2024, that's forecasted. But because this was pandemic year, we backed off our sales tax budget. We still had a big gap. Again, thought it was slow. We didn't raise our budget as much. Still was the big actual over the budget. And even last year had it again. Just thought we would grow our budget more in sales tax. And it appears that we're not going to make our budget. But we do have, like we mentioned before, this practice allows us to adjust to this in the next year.
Tracy, are you, I think you're saying here that the sales tax 23-24 is basically flat, or is that slightly going up?
It's actually, we're showing it, forecasting out at a slight growth, but not to what we've budgeted.
No, I understand that, but as compared to 2023.
It's pretty flat.
Okay.
But we did have to see that big gap between budget and actual. I mean, $4 and $5 million. And I knew I didn't expect it to grow at 12. I think it was 16, 14, and 12%. But I thought we would continue the growth in sales tax. Yep.
Is there a way to pinpoint what that is? Or an idea?
There is, and I'd send it out to you. A lot of the public data is lagging. It takes It'll be 3 or 4 months old before you get it. I think some of this growth has been with, like, some big construction projects that's not occurring now. And you can see in certain sectors too, just, consumer spending slowing down some too. And our building permits were off some, but now they're picking back up again, so, that drives a lot of temples too. So, but I can't just tell you it's this and this.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
I'll do the best. I'll try to come up with some additional data that I can share. So this is our expenditures less than budget. Again, we're not forecasting not as big a number in personnel, but still, less than budget, and the same with the operating. Investments, we have $392.5 million invested as of March 31. About 87% of that was government pools, 12% CDs, and 1.29% cash. Again, interest rates, they were flat forever, went up, was supposed to be coming down, but I think they're gonna remain flat for a while. Capital improvement program, over $500 million, 524 million. 35% of that's reinvestment zone funded. 27.2 million is our COs and TCIP, and 25% utility revenue bonds. This is the CIP status based on dollars. We have over 45% under construction, close to 25%, 22 in the engineering phase, and around 8% in the planning phase. Strategic investment zone program status. As of March 31, we had $465,000 remaining and no pending applications as of today.
Does that carry forward? I can't remember. It does. Okay.
About 200,000 a year. How much goes into that?
The reinvestment zone does 100 and the general fund has been doing 100. And that concludes the second quarter financials. You have to address any questions.
Where's that picture taken?
Is that
Is that rented London?
Looks like.
I'll have to ask my staff.
That's beautiful.
They're usually good about not keeping it local.
Just felt like there's
Where are we, just in general, staffing wise? I mean, what's our projected FTEs versus actual, or needed, or budgeted, or
I don't have any.
just ballpark?
number
Doesn't-
off the
doesn't
top
be
of my head,
just-
but we're in a great place for most departments, especially compared to a couple of years ago when we had some significant
Yeah.
vacancies. I think police obviously still is struggling with sworn positions. I think that's our main area. Transportation had struggled a little bit, but is rising. And I think they're in the 90s now. So I think my area of concern still remains sworn PD.
Right. And I've heard just kind of through the grapevine that some of that may be getting better, maybe, sort of on a national basis. So I don't know what what our local status is if we're losing officers or gaining. Okay. That's good.
Not fast,
Well,
not fast as I would like, but
it's.
I think we're in a positive trajectory.
Stuff I've read, that's even the kind of the politics around policing, and how things around policing is beginning to shift back to a positive trajectory. So hopefully that'll help. Are you over there grinning like he has no idea what he's talking about?
Oh, I think you're right. we're currently about 26 sworn officers down out of the 165 we're authorized. So, and we bounce between about 20 to 26 down in the last year or so. But we've done some things here in the last couple of weeks with some of our recruiting staff that we think is going to make some differences. So we're hopeful. So,
Yeah, we are too.
Basically, I noticed hotel motel was right at exactly 50%. Does that stay pretty constant year round? Do we expect 50% more to come in the next 6 months?
Usually your hotel motel tax revenue increases in the summer months.
So
More travel.
So that may come in.
And I think some of it's with the neighborhood center as far as some of their events. Is greater than 50% right now. But you do see more travel or more bookings in the summertime.
Expenditures go up though too, right, with bringing on part-time summer help and things like, I mean, expenditures this time of year typically are below 50%. Around 50% of budgeted, but we expect that to catch up probably after the summer. Is that a fair statement?
And certain departments.
Yeah.
Like parks and recreation.
Right, sure.
The Mabry Center doesn't have as many, hotel motel fund doesn't have as many part-time funds.
I'm sorry, I wasn't talking about hotel motel.
Yeah.
Okay,
But you are correct in parks and recreation. I don't know how many lifeguards, they've just hired a whole bunch of them. Oh, yes, we have to find that. Okay.
all right. Net positive, right? We don't like to see revenue not hitting projections, but it had to slow, right, at some point. Had such good growth over the last 2 years. Well, I think we've used that money wisely, right? And that's one of the reasons why our retention's up and employee retention. So all positive. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. Before I move on, council, anything else for Ms. Bernard? All right. Next, we'll receive departmental updates from Parks and Rec.
Mayor, Council, I'm not sure if you've met, say, newest assistant director. She's zeroing in on a year being with us, but Leah Anderson is actually going to give the presentation. And, you know, everybody's been giving me grief and been taking money on the side. They said, please let your staff present, not you anymore, because you go too long. So that's why you're seeing Chuck do a lot of presentations. It's only going to continue. So, but anyway, Ms. Anderson is going to give that presentation.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. All right, so here's our quarterly leadership update for you guys. We're going to start off with recreation and just a review of what we've been up to for the last 90 days. This is for our facilities. So at Siemens Community Center, we've got a lot of new programs that have started up. We've got genealogy, So Fun Quilters, pancakes with patrons, and silver screens. And then we also had our gray hair Easter extravaganza where we have 60 people come out to that at Siemens.
Is that for older folks?
It is geared towards. Yes. Very, very play on words. Yes.
Be very careful over there.
It's seasonal.
Yeah, we're gonna run it, Mike and I, next year.
We love it. And then over at Summit Recreation Center, we started a pickleball league as well as a clinic over there. So I'm sure as everyone knows, pickleball is really taking off. And so we're excited to be able to have our own league over at Summit. And then at Wilson Recreation Center, we've got our summer camps about to start up here in the next 2-ish weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And so summer camps and homeschool camps, we've had a lot of increased participation over the last 90 days. And then for our Youth Advisory Commission membership, we've increased that from 8 participants to 37. So we are very excited to see this program grow. This is where we take our staff out into the community, into high schools, and we really encourage those high school age kids to get involved and really take some leadership in their community.
Dr. Rod and his team at GASD has been super helpful with us this year and letting us incorporate into their school program and So it's they've invited us into their schools to educate on the program, and also I forget the wording, but we're certified as like associate teachers or whatever, so that when they're in a YAC program, they're not missing educational time that's counted towards their attendance. So they've been great to help support the program this year, and we've gotten a lot of interest. And we also had fake yak, so that I'm sure got an applicant or two.
Yeah.
Fake yaks.
Mini cows.
Maybe a yak is in the budget, maybe not. We'll see.
I fully support that. Great. Here's some pictures that we have. This is one of our spring break camps here on the left, and then this is the YAC program out at one of the schools, and then this is the gray hair extravaganza. You can see the gray hair.
Are you wearing the bunny costume next year or month?
Like that idea. We'll make it happen. All right, and so this is recreation at the facilities in the next 90 days. So looking forward, we've got all of our mini camps are actually going to be held at Salmons this year. So typically these have been over at Gober. So we're looking at transitioning most of those over to Salmons. We'll also have a Fiesta potluck, or we did have a Fiesta potluck. And then Battle of the Scoops is a new program that they're going to be doing. All of the staff is going to make their own ice cream, and then the visitors will judge who makes it. So bragging rights. At the Summit Rec Center, we'll have our camp starting on June 3rd. And then we also had some new fitness equipment ordered, and that will kind of replace some of those older items that we've got out there. Wilson Rec Center, we've got our main camps. These are our main summer camps here. I believe there's about 10 spots available for the older kids and 2 or 3 spots for the younger. So we're really close to filling those up. And then we're actually making those to where we'll take people off the wait list if they can only fill in those couple of weeks, just so we can have full rosters for the whole summer. And then also our YAC program will be partnering with Clean Yak for Summer Bash celebration. A big community. Over in athletics and events, so over here for athletics, this is a 90 days review. So looking at the past 90 days, we had 23 tournaments scheduled from February to April. Only 4 of those were canceled and 2 were rainouts. We had a youth volleyball clinic. We coordinated several different leagues, 7 leagues there. And then we also had the Walk of Fame event. And this was the first time that we've had this since 2019, I believe. And we're adding 20 new bricks to the different Walk of Fame locations. So this recognizes people that are in the community and that support the youth baseball and softball and adult baseball and softball.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
on the tournament scheduled, 4 were canceled.
Mhm.
Is that typical? That's about 15% of the tournaments that are scheduled are canceled. Kind of what's the policy around that? How long, how far out do they have to cancel? And, because we talk a lot of times about tournaments being economic development opportunities, and, sales tax is down, right? So kind of what's the policy around them canceling? Because, my understanding is a lot of times that if they'll reserve the whole complex, right? How far out can they cancel with no penalty? And are there some penalties if they cancel too close?
That is something that we're actually working on. That's on the next 90 days slide, is that we're really looking at locking down those policies for the tournaments. Most of these these ones I believe are the local leagues. So doesn't quite have the financial impact that some of the larger tournaments coming in would have. But we definitely are looking into that to where we can really come up with those, you need to cancel within 7 to 14 days or however long, to where we can get someone to try and hop in there.
Is it possible to get somebody to hop in there that quickly?
That would be really close.
Okay.
But a lot of these ones that were canceled that are listed here, these are going to be the ones that maybe they didn't get enough registrations, and so then they can't hold the tournament in general.
You don't have a tight enough policy around it. People might take advantage of it, right? Go ahead and slot in where they're gonna, hoping to get it. And if they don't, no penalty, so they can walk away.
Right. Yeah.
And we still take it on the chin.
We're definitely looking at tightening that down a little bit so that we don't run into those issues moving forward.
Thank you.
And then for events the past 90 days, we had our father-daughter dance. There was 1,159 attendees, which is a fantastic show. This was over 2 days. Then we had 45 outdoor event applications that were processed and permitted. And the Central Texas Airfest website was created. So we have that this weekend to look forward to and to see you guys there. And then the Bloomin' Temple web presence. So anything that was dedicated to Bloomin' Temple, we transitioned that into a Temple special events page. So this was a big project that we worked on with communications and marketing to create this as more all-inclusive of special events that we are doing. TempleTXEvents.com, and then that kind of frees up our regular parks and recreation pages to focus more on the facilities and different things that we offer, and highlighting the great work that the golf course is doing and our parks maintenance folks, and kind of clear that out a little bit to where it's not so bogged down with just the events that we're doing. So here's some pictures. This is the Walk of Fame here on the left, and then a picture from the father-daughter dance. In the next 90 days for athletics and events, we've got 28 tournaments currently are scheduled. So there's the breakdown of those. There's soccer, golf, baseball, softball, and then adult softball. We're coordinating 6 adult sport leagues. And then we're, like I said, updating those policies and procedures regarding the tournaments, and then also field usage. So to come up with kind of a hierarchy of who gets first dibs in our facilities.
How big is that disc golf tournament? Is that outside bringing in people, or is that a big deal? Or?
It is a bigger one, I believe. I'm not sure on the exact number of the teams that.
We do have traveling disc golf, like where it brings in regional or statewide even.
All right, and then for events, like I mentioned, we've got the Airfest this weekend with the concert on Friday night, and then the air show on Saturday and Sunday. Hot Summer Sound starts up on Fridays in June and July. And then we've got the 4th of July Fun Fest and Fireworks Show on July 4th.
Are the Hot Summer Sounds still, are we still working with Beige that might on that? Weren't they sponsoring?
I believe they were, yes. I'm not sure if they are sponsoring. And then exciting news, we have our special event assistant position that was recently hired on. So Kimberly Tompkins is going to be the person who's really taking care of those outdoor event applications. We get about 200 per year. So she is jumping right in. She actually started earlier this week. So it's, in my opinion, the best time to start as a parks person is right before a giant event. So just throwing that. But she's doing great. It's kind of funny to watch people's eyes get really big and realize what goes into everything. So it's great. We're also working on implementing a new online software for our outdoor event applications. This is going to be something that Kimberly's really going to take and run with, just where we can kind of get everything all in one place. And then all the different departments will also be able to utilize the software as well, to where we can kind of push out things to the departments themselves rather than just chasing everything by email.
I just got Midas to sponsor me this year. Is that just the music portion of it? And then the city provides the space and lighting and such? I think it's, yeah, I don't know the exact breakdown, but it is a partner, it's a partnership between the two entities.
And then we're also working on the release of a special event guidebook. This is going to be something that is public facing. So if someone is interested in hosting a special event in Temple, they can use this guidebook as a resource and find out all different information about the different kind of permits you'll need, whatever kind of timelines you'll need to work with, and how to best make that. Right, and for aquatics for the last 90 days, we had our indoor underwater Easter egg hunt where we had 50 egg hunters, including this little girl here. She is adorable. And also very exciting, as you guys were talking about just a second ago, our seasonal hiring is complete. We finished that about 2 weeks ago, which we're very proud of. I believe there's 156 part-timers that we hired just for our aquatics program. So this includes the lifeguards, pool managers, concession staff, cashiers, everyone coming together. Again, very excited that we've got all of these folks in and we're not having to do it. And then we're also excited to have our new aquatic coordinator starting. He is from the Pittsburgh area, so Matthew will be joining us the first week in June is whenever he'll be able to make it down here. We also had Councilman Hunsacker come out, so they are doing an aquatic audit of all of our aquatic facilities and splash pads. They were just recently out a few weeks ago and really took a hard look at everything that we're doing, what kind of programs we do, what are our pools and splash pads, what do they need to make them up to standard if they are not, and then what are some things that we can do to serve a population or serve programs that we're maybe not offering that we could.
Oh, I hear that.
Expanding the hours at the summit for the pool.
I don't believe we're doing
The time I hear y'all say Councilman Hunsacker, I think we got another.
that. All right, and then aquatics in the next 90 days, this will be an exciting time for aquatics. The Lions Junction Water Park opens up next weekend. This is already, wow, that's coming up fast. So next weekend, Lions Park opens up, and then the following weekend, we have the other pools, the other outdoor pools that are open. Also new for this year, returning this year since 2019, is the full pool rentals. So to rent out the entire facility, that'll be available this year. Those applications are already available online. And then we're also bringing back Larry's Special Conductors Day to Lions Junction Water Park. So this is a great thing that we bring to the community where before the pool opens for the regular day, people with maybe some special needs, children, or it's a sensory safe place where you can come. We won't have the features on, we won't have the music on very loud. It's just very quiet, very calm to where those families can come out and still enjoy the water park without all of the craziness that comes from normal open swim. Okay, good news and celebrations for the rec side. Central Texas Air Fest, we had our sponsorship goal and we surpassed that, so we're very, very happy. We've also hired all of these full-time and part-time positions. So whenever I came on, there was the big reorganization of the rec side, and so we had lots of positions to fill. We have filled almost all of these at that point, or at this point. Amusement restoration has also come out to Lions Junction Water Park and given the water park a facelift. So I've got a picture on the next slide of that. And then we've also begun work on the PARD strategic plan. So many of you guys were a part of that. And then within that group, we had a staff group that came together and provided just some different feedback and information from all levels of the organization. So that's been an exciting thing to see us all come together. Here's a picture. This is our PARD strategic stars over here. So all of our employees come together to share that. And then on the right side is some of the work that we exploration did to Lions Junction. We've got some new umbrellas out there. And the place features and the stairs, they've all been repainted. They look very nice. All right, into Mayborn. This is the year-to-date, their revenue comparison. So, this part of the year, we're just a little bit behind from where we were last year, but a lot of this is due to, we've been able to keep those kind of recurring longer-term rentals, but it's kind of those one-off ones that we've lost a couple of those. So, moving forward, the next 90 days is looking much more positive. So.
What I told you was incorrect. I think it's in the hotel motel revenue. It was, compared to budget, just that amount was going over 50%.
Yeah, so right, we don't look at the whole picture like you do. Right.
So here's some of the events that we had over the last 90 days. So again, like I said, those past 90 days were a little bit lower than last year, but the future 3 months are looking really nice. Here we go, the shows, and these numbers were from, they might be updated a little bit more, but yeah, looking positive for the next couple months. And event days can really mean if you've got something going on in the conference rooms and then you've got something going on in the main hall, then that would be 2 technical event days. It's not just one day that you have something, each item is an event day. All right, over to Salmon's Golf Course. This is our year-to-date review. So on the golf rounds, lots of people playing golf. We've got 22,353 rounds so far. And our year that we kind of use as our base year is from 2006, which is where we had a total of 38,560. Since COVID, we were up 55% and increase from last year, we're up 10.5% already. So people are loving our golf course, of course.
When I first time I was on the Parks Board years ago, back when Ken Sikora was the director, I think you were assistant then. People were hitting me with the city supporting people that want to play golf, so it's awesome that that's actually not a drag, a financial drag now, so proud of that, thanks.
Yes, sir.
And then tournament rounds, we've also increased quite a bit with the tournament rounds last year, or up 30% from last year. Here's just a general overview of some of our fiscal year so far. You can see, like we were saying, that we're up pretty 10% in the regular rounds and then 30% for some of our tournaments. So that's reflected here. We've had 62 weather days. So I believe Jeff said that May is a big decider month on what that looks like. So today might not be such a great day to go golf.
No, we've already lost double the amount of days in May that we lost last year. Last year was 4 days in the month. We've already lost 8 or 9 today. Be another.
Well, we are thankful for the rain.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's got pros and cons, right? All right, and here's some pictures of what we're doing out at the golf course. We've cleaned up a lot of the canopies. So the one on the left-hand picture here, kind of mulched that area and then pulled up the canopy so that you can see more of the golf course. It's more visually appealing and safer. And then this mower over here is something that we just want to say thank you to everyone for, because this is called a Ventrac mower and it is amazing. I know nothing about mowers, but I've heard about this one and it seems like the staff and crew and everyone has loved it. You can see it can mow on these steep slopes like this. Really helps us clean up the area and make everything more visually appealing. And I think, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but this one has like the arm that can swing out and cut even further down. So.
Yes, ma'am. That on the right, that's an 18-foot long arm that basically has a hedge trimmer on the end of it. And it prevents our staff from having to weed eat that by hand. So it's made us incredibly more efficient.
Leah, before you go forward, Glenn, I think it was last council meeting, something about from Public Works, that drone operated mower.
Yes.
Is that going to help? I mean, that just looks dangerous at that angle.
We did talk about that in our budget meeting. And so I think they're gonna kind of give it some tryout in multiple areas and see where else it can be. It was purchased for transportation.
Right.
We feel like it
I
could
mean,
be,
Buford's not here, so he can't hit me because he wants it too.
it could be applied in multiple areas.
Okay, good.
I don't know, I've lost track a little bit. I don't know if we've received it yet.
Oh, we
I
just
don't- I think
authorized
we
it
just
last week.
ordered it
Yeah.
last.
I don't think
last
it's here
Thursday.
yet.
Yeah.
But
So-
this is the absolute kind, or I'm envisioning that this is the kind of place that it would be.
That's
some-
exactly what I thought when I
Okay.
saw this picture.
Rather than late.
Yeah, exactly. but-
Yes.
And drown the poor driver.
Well, drown the drone.
Balls that are gonna come
Oh, we
shooting
don't
out.
want to drown the
Drown the
drone.
whale.
We don't want to drown anybody. Okay,
The
thanks.
young kids can operate those things so well. I think I was telling Mayor that on Mother's Day, Troy wanted me to play a video game with him and I just kept hitting myself up against the wall and they can just do it like there's no big deal. So we just need to make sure we hire a 21-year-old to run it and it'll be fine. It'll never go in the water.
We can have Troy.
Yeah, probably. He could probably do it.
What is the thing on the back for? The three-point hookup.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know if it's, honestly, I don't know exactly what that.
The attachment would be.
Well, and this mower is also used for ball field maintenance.
Okay.
So you have a blade on the back of it that you can and drag mats and all kinds of things.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's a myriad of attachments that go along with this thing.
That looks like it would hold a receiver edge.
Yeah. I think there's also a big pull behind shredder attachment that you can have to it.
That's what it looks like.
80,000, 81,000 with all the attachments already in it.
It's not my mowing budget.
Yeah.
You gotta be.
Yeah.
Well worth it for us.
Wheels on the back.
It's dual wheel all the way around. So I got 8 wheels on it. Yeah. And it was first invented to maintain dams. Like if you think about who mows Belton Dam, not me.
Oh.
I don't have the guts for that, but yeah.
Is that gonna be available in the tool shed?
Major, if there's a log splitter. Negotiate.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so here's some more pictures from the golf course. This is our new golf cart fleet here. So there's 72 golf carts that we have new, and they are used all the time. So those rounds, they are constantly going. We're excited to have those out.
The total number of cards and all new fleet or just addition to?
All new. It's a 4-year lease that we go on.
For one our size, is that covered enough?
It's good for us now. If we continue to see the round growth that we're going at, we're gonna probably need to have 80 carts in the fleet. We're trying to look at our cart barn to see if they'll fit that many. They'll take some retrofitting to maybe make that work. Yeah, right now it's the right number. And usually about the most people you can have in a golf tournament is 140. So 72 gets you 140 for the percent.
And then we have some of the maintenance technicians out there working on a sprinkler head, some coupler adjustments, and making sure that everything works well. And then also some fertilizing over here. For the next 90 days at the golf course, so we are working on the general maintenance, some aeration, tees and fairways, making sure that everything looks nice. We've got lots of fundraising events and tournaments coming up in May, June, and July. And then also working on that clubhouse renovation, final sign construction, and then a golf course.
I'm excited about the new restaurant out there.
Yes.
That's good.
Here's some photos, this is the aeration.
What was that machine?
It's an aerator.
Aerator?
The news and celebrations at the golf course, we've had, of course, increased rounds, increased revenue, and fully staffed in maintenance. So all throughout parks, we're doing really well on having staff members not having that deficiency.
How many staff is that? You're fully staffed?
In maintenance, there's 9 total: superintendent, assistant superintendent, mechanic, and then there's 6 on the staff. And with equipment, years ago, I would have thought we needed more than that, but with equipment like the Ventrac and things like that, it really does help your staffing needs and being able to maintain things so much more efficiently. I think it's a good number.
So for parks maintenance, here's a review of some of the items that we've taken care of in the last 90 days here. Bathroom renovations, windscreen replacements, updating signs, putting new signs up at dedication ceremonies, in-house bridge repair and replacement so that we haven't had to contract that out, hiring the right kind of people that can do these kind of things, landscape enhancements, trip hazard removal, and air show special projects. Because we're parked, we've got such awesome pictures for you guys. See all these great things. So Miller Park restroom renovation, this is one that was subject to some vandalism. Not some vandalism, it was quite a bit actually. So it essentially made this bathroom useless, but now it is up and going again. And then the Crossroads windscreen replacement over here, the last windstorm that came through about a month or 2 ago, really tore down a lot of our windscreens, and so replaced those and they look really nice again. We've had some new trail directional signage here at Miller Springs Nature Center. And then this was a dedication ceremony that we had, Peter and Carter Soccer Complex, having these signs put up and the ceremony.
All those men on the back row, those are quadruplets. Quadruplets.
Really?
Yeah.
And those kids are that old.
Yeah, they are.
This is South Temple Park. This is the bridge replacement and concrete repair that we handled in-house here. It looks really nice. And then Salmon's Community Center and the Public Library landscape improvement. So these are the left-hand side here at Salmon's. This is Lee, one of our division directors. We created this and kind of designed it and then had that put into place, and it looks really, really great over there. Also at the library, I'm sure most everyone has seen the improvements over at the library. Very visually appealing. This is the Temple Medical Education District landscaping and updating this area so that it's visually appealing. And then this is Pepper Creek Trail. This is a concrete sander. So this fixed about 35 different locations throughout the trail. If there was a section that had kind of bumped up a little bit and was a tripping hazard, this sands it down. After a little while, then those kind of circles, those all wash away so that it's not just circular patterns stuck there on the concrete. And then this is a Mercer softball infield rehabilitation. So resodding the infield of these fields, or two of the fields at the softball complex. The other two were done last year in 2023. And these are some of the games that you'll see at the Airfest if you come out this weekend. Our new events crew, they did a phenomenal job at creating these, and they built both of these games by hand. And I think there's a couple different ones that they worked together to put together. Parks and maintenance over the next 90 days, we've got Airfest support. So again, this weekend, constructing the skate park over at West Temple Park, and then opening our pools and splash pads. Painting Jeff Hamilton basketball court, and then removing the pampas grass on 35 and 363.
Is that gonna be replaced or just visually unappealing, so getting rid of it?
I think for the time being, we're just taking it out, correct, Chuck?
Yeah, we're taking it all out, and they've been recommended that we maybe go for a grant to once the TxDOT builds it and it's then desired to maintain, we don't have to that stuff. So looking at some grant opportunities to come back in and fill all that in. So hopefully it'll look, better in the future. Already looks better. I go by just the other day, it was all taken out. It's like, it already looks
So
better.
much better.
We thought it might be a really good fit. Beautiful. That will be eligible for again soon. Yeah, that has to be used within TxDOT right of way, so that might be a good match for replanting something there.
Right, good news and celebrations for the parks maintenance side. Recovering from Winter Storm Uri. This was a couple years ago, but just based on planting schedules and when plants and trees and everything were available, we're still kind of working towards getting back on our feet from that. We've also retrofitted 168 lights to LED on Friars Creek Trail. And then as of March, there was a 7% vacancy rate in our maintenance department, which is fantastic. Rain was a really great thing a couple weeks ago, and now we're kind of maybe over it just a little bit, but rain is always a good thing. In-house project, so we've added these steps here behind these two gentlemen, steps added to the parks maintenance building to help them get up that way without getting all muddy and sloshy in that incline. And then speed bumps and concerns, something that we're always facing is vandalism. So 13 instances since January 1st. Really trying just to make sure that we're staying on top of keeping things fixed and maybe making them not, we can vandal proof, but that's a hard thing to do. So vandal resistant.
What time do those restaurants close? I mean, restaurants.
Look dirty.
Don't go there.
What time do they close? The restrooms? What time do the restrooms close? Restrooms close?
Well, we have, so they go with the park hours. Really. Some of them where we have more vandalism historically, we put in some automatic locking systems. We don't lock all of them, but it's got to the point where even the ones that are locked, kids are getting to be pretty brave. They'll go in even during the daytime and before they even lock and just destroy some things. So with summer coming on, we expect to see the number increase, as we know. media will to the same thing. Things get crazy in the summertime, and people act out even more. So as we can, and when we start seeing more trends in different locations, we continue just to add more of those spots and more lighting while it does go. I hope that answers your question. Sometimes 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock.
And that is what we have. Any questions?
There's a lot. Good job. Thank y'all.
One question, when those amusement type events come in, they go in like parking lots, do they go to Parks and Rec?
Yes, yeah, those would do an outdoor event application.
Do we get those often?
Yes, we get about 200 a year. Not specifically for that, but just in general, there's 200, an average of 200 a year.
I'm thinking in general of the amusement, you know, the rides, because I know in Blooming Fest, that was a huge thing, but we don't do it anymore. And I don't know if it was a monetary thing or if it wasn't being used during that time,
No, so you mean,
like the Ferris wheel, all that.
right, so you're saying, so we had it at Blumenfest. And of course, Blumenfest went away, and that with our strategic plan is going to be retooled to a totally different event philosophy. That's why it's not at the Petals and Pines. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so instead of a family going to Austin or Six Flags or wherever, you know, if we brought that to the city, those kids who don't normally get to go out that week, have those opportunities, right, those types of rides within the city.
Yeah, I think what we did at that event, just the atmosphere and just the amenities we were bringing in, we were catering to a totally different crowd. Petals and Pines is just different. It doesn't really match with what we're trying to accomplish. I think if it is just, hey, let's bring in amusement rides and stuff, probably have been leaving that up to private businesses to come through and sponsor those. If we had a special event that we think that rides would be appropriate, we would do it again, for sure.
And then we got an email about one of the basketball courts on the west side. Are you regularly checking those basketball courts for the surface to make sure they're safe?
Yeah.
Drainage issue.
I know you
No,
said,
not great. This one's paint. Is that the one you're talking about?
yeah, I think they were saying it was a little slick.
It
Yeah.
was an email that Tim
Yeah.
forwarded yesterday.
I didn't see.
I didn't see that either.
Came to, I think, you and I for sure. Susan, did you get the original?
I got it, but I didn't do anything with it because you forwarded it to Park.
I know, it's you.
Handle all the
Or
work.
me. I know.
Yes, but to get back to answer your question, Chuck has limited staff that try to go out on a regular basis. In this upcoming budget, we did propose a couple of just true park inspectors. And that's all they would do. They would not get pulled off doing things. Right now, the staff wear multiple hats, so they do it. You saw up there one of the slides, I believe, was it Jackson or some park, Ferguson basketball court. So I can tell you, Chuck might know more. We do go out. Is it frequent and as detailed? I don't think so, because we wouldn't have asked for, the bodies. But yeah, we do make it around. I'm not sure.
Finding out that was mine. I hope you took care of it.
It will be taken care of.
Okay.
And it is on a
I'll
price
let 'em
price list.
So I got you. That was easy.
Yeah, you sending it now.
Anything else? Thank you, ma'am.
Right, thank you.
Ms. Mackey will present purchasing of facility services.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Purchasing, facility services, and construction services update. So I'm going to start with highlighting our purchasing department. So looking back over the last 90 days or so, we've implemented some purchasing training. We're calling them mini trainings. Everything's through Teams. Good participation in them. I was real proud of the purchasing staff for what they did. And this is something we're planning to do on an ongoing basis, just to make sure that education is out there for how to do certain things in the purchasing environment. We did hire a new administrative assistant too. This was an existing position that we had to fill with somebody leaving. Kaylee Bennett is the one who filled that role. Accounts payable processes, we initiated research for automating AP and getting to electronic disbursement of checks is our goal eventually. I'm being told by Randy Hairston, the assistant director, it's kind of in a slow mode right now. Of course, finance people are very tied up with budget and so forth, but definitely we want to move in that direction.
It is a priority. It's a big priority.
Buyer cross training we've been working on. We're actually restructuring a little bit. There wasn't really in people operations, there's kind of a designated person that a person goes to. Each department has a designated kind of person. So we are implementing that in purchasing now. Right now we have 2 buyers, but on Monday we'll have 3 buyers, and each of those buyers will be assigned department. So historically, people have kind of picked the person they wanted to go to. So this way we'll have some better coordination and structure as to getting people's help in the buying process done. Moving forward, departmental changes, we're going to have that 3rd buyer coming on board on May 20th. It's somebody that's familiar with the city, Alex Beaver, who was in Parks previously. So she'll be on board with us starting Monday. We'll be aligning buyers with their assigned departments. You recognized us for the Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award a few months back. And so the application deadline for that for this calendar year was yesterday. And so that has been applied for, and hopefully things are good and we'll receive that recognition again. It's that time of year where we're getting ready for fiscal year 25. So we're very busy with annual contracts already and new solicitations that we're working on. There's just a list of some that are new, kind of unique to what we've done historically. Looking back, this is what our front office looked like on the left. We basically had 3 workstations, and they were bulky and so forth, and we're growing. As a department, we needed places to put everything, people. So the thing was, well, we can't add staff because we had no place to put them. So what we did is invested in a 5-person cubicle system. At first, staff was kind of leery, but when I've talked to them, even this week, after they've lived in this environment for now a month, they're like, this is the greatest thing ever. So they don't feel like they've lost space. They actually feel like they're more efficient and more organized. So I'm really excited what that has brought to our front staff area. And moving on to facility services, which is comprised of our purchasing warehouse, custodial services, and facility maintenance. We've had a change in leadership over this. Doug Ayers left the city a couple weeks ago, and I'm pleased to announce that we're hiring a new facility services division director. His name's Dillard Barr. Some of you may know him. It was at Extraco for many years as their facility manager. But we're excited. Currently, Dillard he's been with us for about a month as our journeyman electrician. So he's a licensed electrician, but we're very excited about what he's going to bring to our facility services division. Purchasing warehouse, of course, Ricky Hernandez retired after 36 years of service. We celebrated him in January. In February, we brought on a new warehouse coordinator, Kenneth Drake. Kenneth actually was in Fleet a few years back, and he actually saw the opportunity coming that Ricky would be retiring. So he was keeping an eye on advertisements. And so we were pleased to get back Kenneth Drake from Fleet Services, and he's now our warehouse coordinator. In custodial services, we're pretty much the same. Gary Zaruba is the leader of that division. We're still cleaning about 25 facilities, and he supervises a staff of 12. In facility maintenance, these guys are busy, and you see Dillard there in the middle with the blue shirt on. But these guys are really proud of what they do and what they can accomplish. With Doug being gone the last few weeks and me taking over kind of the supervision of all the things that these guys are doing, it's eye-opening, the amount of things that they're taking care of. Facility assessments is something you authorized us to start doing, kind of creating master plans for our facilities. I'm pleased to report that 19 of the assessments of the buildings have been assessed. We're still evaluating the reports and strategizing how to get it implemented and so forth, but real pleased that we've got 19 of those done. There's on the top about 10 buildings I'd like to get done, but right now we don't have funding for that. And then there's some other facilities that I really wouldn't recommend that we do right now. Moving on to our construction services division, pleased to report we have a new position in our department, new construction services division director. That person that's filling that role is Austin Maxwell. So I'm really tickled to have him on board since March 18th. The projects, and then we also have a project manager, Brittany Benight. She has been on maternity leave, and Austin and I are so excited to get her back on Monday. So she keeps us everything rolling for us. So definitely it's a growing division, and definitely there is lots of things to do, as these slides will represent.
Was Brittany with you? when we
Yes.
toured? She's
Yes.
been on maternity leave.
She has been on maternity leave. Yes,
Good
she
heavens.
had a little girl.
Wonderful.
Yes, yes. Projects we've completed since we last met, the animal shelter improvements, of course, the front door entrance of the animal shelter is shown there. Airport headquarters generator, we actually completed that project, did the grand opening in December, but we were waiting on the generator to come in. Because there's FAA equipment in that building, we have to be backed up by generator. Lead time on generators is like at least a year. So we just finally got that in, and that's all operational now. So we can get everything out of the old building and into the new from the standpoint of equipment. We replaced the fleet services roof. That's this building right up here. That roof was a part of that roof was originally started as part of the 2002 construction of this whole complex and so forth. And just some, I guess what I learned early on is our construction personnel like to use Pookie to cover up problems. Basically caulking. So that's what happened. There was lots of issues, probably construction-wise, in the laying of this roof. Lots of holes that were drilled in the wrong spot, and they were covered up with Pookie. And the only way really to fix it at this point, to do it right, was to put a new roof on. So we're real pleased with how that turned out. The other thing we've accomplished in the last few months is the completion, which was presented to you all, of the police downtown campus master plan. So again, this is just a rehash of that master plan. Really, priorities, just to remind you, is, as Chief sees it, our number one priority is getting more parking for the complex, and then going on to the building and adding additional evidence space and additional office space is needed. But we've got to fit that into the business plan based on the investment that's going to take. The other thing we completed was the police outdoor sniper range master plan. So out next to the service center, of course, is where the police train now to shoot. And we're going to be constructing a new indoor range, but they also need a longer range sniper range. So we've got a master plan now. And in the business plan, we'll include the construction of turning that into an outdoor sniper range. And also Summit lobby flooring we replaced since we last met. Few projects under construction right now, but a lot more to come. Right now we have under construction the Nathaniel Mitchell Service Center Building A expansion and renovation. These are real recent photos, basically showing the outside, how it just ties right in with the existing front end. The front end is around 13,000 square feet. We're adding on 11,000 square feet. The addition should be completed around September timeframe. The plan is then to move existing staff into the existing space back to the new space, so we can do some renovations and make the space more effective, efficient for departments. So overall, in the whole project itself should be done in December, but moving along right on schedule right now. And we're dried in, so that's good from the standpoint of rain right now. Looking at another project we have under construction, y'all recently awarded a contract to LM Armstrong Construction for improvements or addition of amenities at the public safety training campus. So what we're focused on right now, LM Armstrong, is the construction of number 10 right up here, the driving skills pad, along with number 11, the simunition shoot house. So that, again, project's going well. LM Armstrong, of course, has to shut down a lot with these rain days, but they're getting at it. As soon as they can get out there and start moving dirt again, they're doing it. So, and just to orient you, of course, this is Fire Station 8 right here with the Fire Training Center. And then we've got coming in, starting construction next year will be the indoor range along with the police training classroom. Projects that we have ready for construction, a few projects at the historic post office. The roof repair and restoration, this is actually on your council agenda this evening. Basically, we're going to be taking off those clay tiles carefully. Clark Roofing will be doing this. And then basically the underlayment underneath the plywood and everything is rotted out. And so we're going to be taking, or they're going to be taking everything off, restoring the base and the underlayment and everything, and then putting these clay tile roofs back on. They are historic. We do have some extras tiles, thank goodness, because there are some broken ones, but we definitely need this because we've got some water infiltration issues in this building.
Are these historic tiles obtainable through whatever?
You can have them made very expensively, yes.
Imagine.
Yes, luckily we have some. Yes. Another project in this building, we're really struggling with the HVAC system. We should be coming to you very soon with a recommendation for a construction contract to get that HVAC system where it needs to be for heating and cooling, reliable heating and cooling. You've also already authorized the elevator refurbishment in this building. We're just waiting for the manufacturing of it, and that should be happening in the next few months also. In the Jamie Hager Clements complex, where we house the utility business office and municipal court, our plan is to award a contract for the 311 call center on the second floor, basically this space right here. So I actually received some pricing today that we'll be negotiating with, but our plan is to use a job order contracting contract to fulfill the construction of this project also. So Heather can kick that program off early in fiscal year 25. Several projects in design, and I put these in order of where I think they're going to start construction. So the next one I think that's going to go under construction is the Santa Fe Community Market. So of course, this is the old Temple Feed and Seed Store. This is an RZ project. The plan is to demo where it says Santa Fe Community Market and build an open air kind of marketplace that can be rented out or used, opened up for just public events. There'll be restrooms there, meeting places, and so forth. So we're excited to get that project kicked off. The Sam Hood's Clubhouse expansion and renovation. We actually got final plans on that project yesterday. RM Rodriguez Construction is been awarded the construction manager at risk contract on that project, and they're ready to start bidding it in the next couple of weeks. So we should be coming back to you at the second meeting in July or first meeting in August with a recommendation for award of a guaranteed maximum price to get that project under construction. In this building here, we want to renovate, or we're moving along in the design of the IT server room. City Hall fire alarm, we want to do that with that IT server room project. Library lighting, that's under design. That is one building that we didn't upgrade to LEDs. The majority of our other buildings all have LEDs. Since we don't technically own the library, it didn't qualify for that funding source that we used in 2018. So we want to get that done. That building consumes a lot of electricity, has a lot of light. So that will be money well spent on that project. Also then, what I'm envisioning is early in calendar year 25, we'll start the construction of the police indoor shooting range and classroom building, the resource hub, and Gober Party House campus master plan. So behind Gober Party House is the old parks maintenance area. We're planning to turn that into a resource hub. Recently, we were talking about, well, where can we have classes that really apply to this resource hub, kind of what we're going to be doing there. So we started talking about Gober. So we're going to expand or take a little pause on actually moving in full force with the resource hub as we take a more broader look at that whole Gober Party House campus area. There's some neat ideas that staff is coming up with there. We're also, you've recently awarded a contract for a secured parking lot south of Central Fire. So we're moving along in that. That should free up or create some additional parking to supplement when we start the construction of the new municipal complex expansion. Police Department HVAC system evaluation. This has just been a building that we've struggled with the last several years in getting a reliable temperature in that building. So you've got actually an agenda item on your agenda tonight to award a contract to ACR Engineering to help us really get some momentum to get that building where it needs to be from an HVAC standpoint. And of course, we have under design right now the municipal complex expansion. things that we have on our to-do list, several fire station improvements. We were waiting for those assessments to come in. We've now got those, so we really want to get moving on getting those fire station improvements kicked off. We want to work with Kevin's team on the Lions Junction building, constructing a lifeguard room and possibly some front office renovations that are needed out on that campus. The Arbor of Hope, which is on the screen right here to the right, is we're here and ready to help with the design support on that project also. And as I've already mentioned, we need to spend some time really focusing, evaluating, and strategizing the implementation of what we're learning through the building assessments. That is my update in a whirlwind. Be happy to answer any questions.
It's a lot.
There's a lot going on.
It's amazing.
Any questions? Good job. We appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
All right, yes. It's 2:35. Council will enter into executive session to discuss the following: receive and discuss a briefing regarding certain economic development prospects and potential real property acquisitions. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.072 and 087, council may meet in closed session to discuss or deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property and deliberation. An open meeting that would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with third parties. Discuss or deliberate commercial or financial information received from a business prospect that the governmental body seeks to have relocate, stay, or expand near the temple, and with which the governmental body is conducting economic development negotiations or to deliberate the offer of financial or other incentives, such a business prospect. No final action will be taken. Item 7 is discuss the employment duties of the work plan of the city manager. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, council meets executive session to discuss the employment and duties of the city manager.